Doc Marzi made this.
You are now watching the Larry White Podcast, hosted by Larry White.
What's up, guys? Larry White, season 1. I got a special guest today, JMKM, a great friend of mine. Go ahead, introduce yourself, talk to me a little bit.
What's up, everybody? I'm gonna do my intro in my native Hawaiian. I'm learning Hawaiian, so you'll be the first podcast that I'm on.
Yeah.
Practicing. I'll start.
That's
it's
cool, bro.
Aloha mai kako o JMKM Ko'inoa, o Pepekeo Maiao o Kamokopuni o Hawaii, noho au Los Angeles, California. What's up, everybody? My name is JMKM. I'm from Hawaii. And I am now living in Los Angeles, California. That's my intro. I'm learning how to speak the language, bro. So thank you.
That's cool, bro. Yeah, I respect that a lot.
Yeah, random. I know. Yeah.
No, that's cool, bro. So let me talk to you a little bit. What really started getting you into production? Because I know you make beats. I know you produce a podcast of your own that I listen to, Lonelobos. What really started all that love for that?
Shoot. You know what? I just have always been fascinated with music. I'm sure like a lot of the guests that you've had on, or you yourself as a listener, growing up in Hawaii, like I found music through my older siblings. They were big fans of like Tupac and Bone Thugs and Harmony, and they're a little bit older than me. So what ended up happening was they had left Hawaii for college, and they left behind a lot of their CDs and music. So I started to dive into that. So I just got into music early age, and I'm a little bit older than you, so like my generation, right. we came up at the beginning of like the internet, like downloading music off of LimeWire and uploading music to SoundCloud. Like we were the first ones, like the Soulja Boy era, basically, right?
Right.
So I remember just being in high school, downloading a bunch of music, and my older brothers, they were into technology, so they hooked me up with 2 programs, FL Studio and Reason, and I just started making beats. And then it was ass at first, you know.
Yeah.
But I started making beats, get into it, saved up money. In the island where I'm from, we didn't have, I don't know if you guys have like Guitar Center where you're at, or
yeah, we do. Yeah,
we don't have that. We didn't have that, or we still don't have that in Hawaii. So I had to order my music online. I mean, all my equipment online and from the back of magazines and stuff. Like, so I remember buying like a computer and then buying an interface and just being like the first one in my school to really be on it.
Right.
And then I just became the dude that made CDs and made music.
Right.
And all.
That's
so
cool, bro.
It just long answer. I just got into it from an early age, just basically through the influence of my family, bro.
That's cool. I respect that, bro. Also, speaking of your beats, when I was doing my research and this has first started, bro, your beats are just like, you're honestly the first one out of everybody that I have had on this podcast, and no disrespect to them, but your beat, it's just so smooth. Like I could just sit there and listen to it, and it was just, I don't know, it was like so comforting. Like it had that cool vibe to it, bro. I just respect that a lot. Like it was great, bro.
Yeah, super chill. Even when I work with artists, like I do like instrumentals like you said, and whether it's those lo-fi chill stuff I put out or I'm making beats with an artist, I feel like there's definitely a sound. I even have homies that tell me, like homies from high school that I haven't talked to in a minute, that would be like, I can tell it's your beat, even though I haven't your stuff in a while. Like you have a sound. I don't even know what that is yet.
Yeah.
But it's just chill. I just like just a chill vibe, you know. I definitely don't do like type beats. No disrespect to any artists that do those type of beats.
Right.
I don't think I can. Every time I'll be able to make a certain pocket, but I can't just do like regular trap beats, regular that, you know. It's just always a little chill vibe. Maybe it's the island vibe in me, you know.
Yeah, I feel with that, bro. So speaking of that, like how do you clear your head enough to get that vibe to your beat? Like how do you just sit down and you're like, okay, I really need to get this done? How do you clear your head? How do you get everything on the pad and just work at it? Like what's your plan? How do you get it to all come together?
I usually will start like with just an idea or like a melody. For a long time I used to start with drums.
Right.
But now I almost always will like search for a vibe and some keys, or if there's a loop that I'm using. I work with a lot of dope producers that will like send me loops and stuff.
Right.
now with the invention of like Splice and whatnot, that really
Yeah.
helps get started. But yeah, I think getting in that mode is important. I usually start with the melody and then build around it. Um, yeah, that's my flow.
That's cool, bro. That's cool. So outside of the music, what are some other hobbies that you have? Obviously, I know you produce the podcast. I know that, you like to do that. What other things do you like to do if you're not feeling the music, what do you like to do to go clear your head?
Yeah. I mean, I love spending time with the family. But I also love to cook too.
Okay.
Food is a big part of my culture growing up. Just always being around, whether it's my grandma in the kitchen or my mom, like, or even my dad, like everybody cooks in my family.
Right.
Uh, so I recently, like in the past 5 years, I just realized that like cooking food for people, that's like my love language,
Right.
like or the vibe I get from playing music for somebody and getting that feedback is the same as like cooking for somebody and having them enjoy my food.
Right.
So out here in LA, I'm involved with this pop-up called Islos Musubi, where it's led by a husband and wife chef duo, and I work with them because I don't have time to start my own thing right now. I
Right.
work with them and we do food pop-ups at festivals, shows. Do you know what a musubi is? I want to ask you.
No, I've never heard of that. What is it?
Okay, so it was like a musubi is a Hawaiian and spam, a Hawaiian and Japanese dish. It's basically like rice with spam wrapped in seaweed. And it
Okay.
might sound crazy because where are you at again?
Ohio. I'm
You're in
from
Ohio.
Ohio. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what the population of Japanese Hawaiian people are
Right.
around,
Right.
but or if they have like Hawaiian barbecue over there.
Now,
But
I don't think I've honestly, now that you bring it up, I don't think we have there's some Japanese places, but Hawaiian food's not. I've rarely seen anything with Hawaiian.
that's so
Yeah.
dope. America is crazy to be able to
Yeah, it is, bro.
talk with you from across the country like that.
It
But
is.
yeah, it's fire. I don't know what your relationship with spam is. What is it? Huh?
It's okay. I don't
How do
mind it. It's all
y'all?
right.
What's your interpret? I just let's like not to flip the script and ask you questions, but what ways have you ate spam before?
Oh God.
Like
There's been
out the
so many
can?
ways. Yeah, I definitely ate it out the can a couple of times. That's probably the only way, just because it's so convenient. It's like right there. I'm like, I'm just gonna eat it right now. I might, like it's
Yeah. Okay. So you gotta fry it. You gotta cook it in
right.
the.
Okay.
You gotta cook it up in the pan, get it crispy. It's I would the taste when you fry it is similar to like bacon.
Okay.
It's a mix between like sausage and bacon. And what they do in Hawaii is they take it and they serve it on a bed of rice with some seasoning. It's like not quite sushi, but it's
Right.
like that. So it's huge out here on the West Coast because there's a big, Asian, Filipino, Pacific Islander population. So out here in California, everybody knows what a musubi is.
Right.
So, but in Hawaii, it's even more. It's like you go to a 7-Eleven out here, what do they got? Hot dogs or pizza or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
In Hawaii, the 7-Eleven, they got spam musubi.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. So when I came out here, I realized that people love talking to me about my culture and about
Mhm.
being from Hawaii because it's so you not like you said, you don't know too many people from
Yeah.
Hawaii. And then I realized that people love Hawaiian food because of there's restaurants out here that do some of these dishes. So I got involved with East Los Musubi, which is a pop-up that I was mentioning. And I've been rocking with them and we cook and we do pop-ups and we do all types of Japanese, Hawaiian, LA fusion dishes. And that's like my true second love. Music will always be first, I think.
Right.
But I just found a passion for
Cooking.
food, yeah. And I think down the line one day we'll definitely, trying to open up a restaurant or something, But
Right.
yeah, it's cooking. Also, low key last year I got into like um just like home gardening, like
Oh
just being
wow.
to grow,
Okay.
to grow your own food. I didn't do
Yeah.
too well at it. I tried to grow like some squash and some tomatoes and some onions and things like that to cook with, and some of it came
Right.
out good, some of it not so much. Next spring, I'm gonna try it again. It's getting into fall already, so I won't be able to plant anything this year.
Right.
But that was like a cool little side project for me.
That's
Yeah.
cool, bro. That's dope. So So you moved from Hawaii to California. How big was that move? Like, how do you think that helped you grow as a person, or circumstances maybe? Like, how do you think that helped you just in general?
Man, it helped a lot because the the culture in Hawaii is you either stay or you go. It's
Right.
common, like when you're in high school, you already know, like by your junior year in high school, you're
Yeah.
talking to your homies, you're like, are you gonna go to the mainland? Is what they call it,
Right.
or now we're calling it like the continent, or we're calling it America.
Right.
Uh, a lot of us don't consider Hawaii to be a true part of America. So it'd be like, are you gonna go to America?
Right.
So I decided I was going to, and because I knew that I wanted to focus on music and there wasn't that much out there. Now there's a big scene now. I know we have some
Oh yeah.
mutuals from Hawaii to do music,
Yeah.
but I the transition was rough, but I was ready, man. I think
Yeah.
I had support from my family, which I look back on it now and I think it's kind of crazy. I basically told my mom and my dad that I want to move across the ocean, and actually went to Arizona first. I spent a year in
Oh
Arizona.
wow.
That's where I went to school at.
Okay.
So the transition from Hawaii to Arizona, um, it was rough, but I was just so juiced just to be away from home,
Right.
growing up on the island for so long that I didn't let any of it get in
Back
the
to you.
way.
Yeah.
Nah, but in hindsight, it was a pretty big jump, man. Like I left right after high school, so I was 18.
You were young.
Yeah, and and I just went, and then I was had to get an apartment, financial aid, school loans,
Yeah.
and just was in the big city, and it's never driven on a freeway before, never.
Wow.
We don't even have freeways on my
Right.
island. Like being so wide eye, like going to places with people. I remember I linked up with this dude from Alabama, and he was like the other hip hop guy because
Yeah.
the school I went to was like audio engineering school, right? And they
Right.
would, okay, you guys do hip hop, you guys hang out. You
Yeah.
introduce there's this dude, and he looked like somebody out of like Malibu's Most Wanted or he was some white dude with a
Yeah.
big old Chevy truck, and it's the first time I heard someone like talk like that. I remember he said something, and he was like, "All right, bet," and I was like, "What do you bet
Yeah.
what?"
What does that mean? Yeah. That what?
Or I would say stuff, and I still had a heavy accent from Hawaii, which comes and goes now, and it was a fun transition, man. But I
Yeah.
encourage everybody to spend some time away from the place you grew up, just a little bit, one
Right.
year, 6 months, because that helped me grow, helped me gain independence. That now that I'm a dad and I have a kid, and
Yeah.
I imagine my son doing the same thing, and it's hard for me to think
Yeah.
about
It is.
to go so far away. But it's a big
Right.
trend. Yeah. Have you ever
That's
spent any
crazy.
time outside of
Uh,
your hometown?
no, I'm scared. I'm like you. I'm big on my spending family time. As much time as I can get with them, I'll take it. And I've kind of grown. I've always been that way. Like they've just kind of like, I guess you couldn't really say sheltered in a way, but I've just always been close to my parents. I've always kind of been scared, but I do feel like it would help me in a way. I just don't know where. That's the problem. Like I'm kind of like, I do, but I just don't know where.
Yeah.
I don't want to kind of just jump up and move and just go somewhere. I don't know. You see, I don't know.
Risk for sure. It's a risk.
Yeah, it is, bro. But speaking on all that, did you ever have during that transition time, did you ever just sit there and have like regrets where you were just like, man, I just want to go home? Like did
Yeah.
that thought come up and you were just like, I just really just can't do this anymore?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think I had a few trying moments before I met my partner that I'm with now,
Right.
and we had a baby, but I was it was rough just
Yeah.
trying to work, trying to make it. I was interning for a record label and not making much money, but it was a really big artist, and it's like you see all these big rich people doing these big
Right.
things, and then I was just like not making nothing, not even old enough to go to the liquor store to buy alcohol for
Right.
it's like being an intern and
Right.
being told, okay, go on this run, and then having to come back and be like, oh, actually I couldn't get
Yeah. The
this because I'm
alcohol.
only 18. They were just like,
Right.
what so I was young, but they many times, many trial tribulations. I've been in car accidents and
Wow.
had my car towed and had been around real sticky situations out
Yeah.
here with people that I was rolling with, and a few moments of like, I think I'm gonna come home. I think
Right.
I'm gonna come home. But luckily I didn't, and
Push through.
I pushed through. And it's not an easy road, but shoot,
Yeah.
is anything ever, right?
No, you're right, bro. That's you're right. Is there any similarities to your hometown? Like, do you see any similarities from Hawaii to? And sorry if I mispronounce it.
No,
From
you're good.
Hawaii to Cali, do you see any similarities? Like when you came to Cali, were you like kind of reminds me of home, but kind of
Yeah.
not? Like certain
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. LA definitely felt more like home than Arizona. Arizona was interesting because it was just so hot. And
Right.
just there was a desert. California, the climate's a little bit more similar. It doesn't rain as much as it does back home, but the culture in the area of LA that I live, there's big Asian population, big Hispanic population. The main difference between California and Hawaii is there's not as much, there's very little like Mexican influence
Right.
where I'm from, but over here there's a lot of Chinese food, Japanese food, like a lot of Hawaiian barbecue. So when I came to California, I moved to an area that was like really Asian. It's called the San Gabriel Valley, and the San Gabriel Valley is like a suburb, a valley like maybe 10 minutes east of like downtown LA. So
Okay.
it was like, oh, this is cool because I could walk down the street and I saw like all the Asian food and all the people that look like my family back
Right.
home, because I'm part Hawaiian, but I'm also part Japanese.
Okay.
Yeah, and so it was cool. I felt more at home in the food. I was like, and the food in California is good. I feel like,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
cool, bro.
that was similar. So other than that, it's still very different.
Yeah.
The yeah, the streets are
Well,
a lot different out here for sure.
yeah. Well, I was gonna say population probably. I mean, I know you guys Hawaii's big, but I mean Cali's probably triple or double at least. So
Oh
you
yeah, it's small. If you look at it on a map, it's minuscule. Like my whole island is like one city over here.
that's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, yeah.
How did you deal with that? Like all the people you probably weren't used to all the people. You just kind of had to go through it with the transition then.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I kind of like, I'm pretty introverted, so like I like not seeing the same person twice.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So when I go home, it's a small, like literally everywhere I go, I'm
You know
recognizing people.
everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, even if I don't know them, I
Yeah.
just know that old auntie that's at that store.
Right.
I remember she's there, or the uncle that we call everybody auntie and uncle, like that works at the gas station. He's been working there for 20 years,
Yeah.
and over there it's like a family. Everybody's like, you say what's up to everybody, you say hi to everybody, and I love that. And when I go home, I love being transported back to that because over here you don't look at nobody. You don't.
Right.
So I mean, I don't like that part. I don't like
Yeah.
how cold sometimes certain parts of LA is because everybody kind of minds their business. But once you're involved in a
Right.
community here, though, like then you feel that love,
Right.
whether it's through the music community or through whatever you're doing. LA is definitely not all like that, but it's just so much more people that I could
Mm.
like go to the store without worrying about
Right.
running into
See.
me, and I could be
Yeah.
like, but just because I live in an area that I don't know a lot of people, or
Right.
but yeah, it's a little different. But yeah, back home in Hawaii, you see everybody, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. It's a
Yeah.
small, it's an island.
Yeah, that's how it is here. Because the problem, I mean, the city I'm from, so it's big, but like it's probably I don't even know how to. It's probably a little bit smaller than Hawaii, I would say. And so the city I'm in now, it's Troy, Ohio, and then I lived in another city probably like 10 minutes away. It's called Piqua, Ohio. I
Yeah,
grew up in Troy, and then we ended up moving to Piqua. It was like my freshman year. So the problem with that is like I went to Troy all the way through my freshman year and then I graduated from Piqua. So now I know everybody from Piqua because I graduated them, and now I know everybody from Troy. So where I work at, it doesn't matter where they're from. I know who they are. So like and
yeah,
I run the front register. So it's like everybody that comes in, it's probably like an 85% shot that I know who it is.
yeah,
And it's just crazy. And it's, it's kind of, sometimes it's like, wow, I get tired of seeing everybody, but it's, I don't know, but I
yeah,
get what you're saying. It's just how it is, I guess.
yeah. Small town. I feel like there's love in that when you get to grow up in a community that you see all the same people, but
Definitely. Yeah,
there's always pros and cons to that for sure.
definitely.
For sure. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't mean to keep looking down, but I got my notes right here.
Oh, you're good.
So
Do your thing.
I got my all your top 5 beats. I got them. I ranked them. They may not be your rank, but okay. So my first one,
shit.
yeah, was first one was your Irregular Heartbeat album. I loved all the beats on that one.
Thank you.
That was my first one. The second one was the JMKM Imprint. I like that one.
Okay.
The third one was Lucid.
Okay.
That was one of my favorites. The fourth one was Falling, and then the fifth one was, I might pronounce this wrong, it was Maki.
Okay.
Those were my top 5. But this leading into my next question, what's like your all-time favorite beat or your album that you've ever put together? Like, what's your favorite that you've ever made?
That's a good. Yeah, those are some. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I know. I did some. Bro. I loved all your beats. Like, I couldn't even. It was so hard for me to pick 5 just because, like, like I told you before, like your vibe they were all just immaculate, bro. So it was like,
yeah,
man, ranking these are crazy for sure.
Shoot.
I know. I know.
One of my favorite beats that I've ever made is a sister beat to the last one. The last one was called Makai. So Makai is in Hawaiian, that means like towards the ocean.
Okay, I got you.
Right. So I would say
should have asked you that.
No, you're good. You're good. That's probably one of my favorites. But there's another beat that I have that's probably like 8 years old. It's called Mauka.
Okay.
And Mauka means towards the mountain. So when in Hawaii, that's kind of how we say directions. We don't say northeast or go. They'll be like
towards the mountain.
Yeah, we just go up Mauka, or it's off of this by Makai and so Mauka and Makai, those two were like my 2 favorite beats. But I have to really give it up to it might not be my most favorite sonically, but my most popular one is the one Saria song, which is a flip off of a Zelda.
Okay.
Did you ever play Zelda?
Yeah, I did. I listened to Zelda too.
Yeah, so that beat, I don't know if you heard that one, but it's based off of the song Lost Woods or Saria song, where in the game it's like so me and the homie DeFalco did a flip off of that, and we got picked up by this video game label, and that is like my first beat to hit like over 1 million streams.
Okay.
And that's such like a dope accomplishment because the way that beat came about and the way that I had a vision, and I told the homie this is what we should do, and then we should get the homegirl Kaala to do vocals on it, and she did the vocals on it, and it came out just like how I envisioned it.
Yeah.
For it to get so much love on all these playlists and to get so many streams, like, it was a real proud moment. So I would say that is probably like the top one, but I never play that one because it's gotten kind of played out for me, because it's such a popular sample or
right.
Per se. But those are some of my tops. But what was the number 2? You said Imprint?
Yeah, Imprint was number 2. Yeah, I fucked with Imprint.
That's a new one. Yeah. That's a new one.
Yeah.
That's one of my most recent ones. So I love that.
I fucked with. Yep. Speaking on, and when I was on Spotify, so actually it was just a little bit ago. I checked again, but you have, at first it was, I think it said you had 11,000 listeners. So how crazy is that to think that when you were growing up, your siblings left you, or you got into music? Like, how big is it now, looking on everything you have, that your audience? Like, how crazy is that you went from getting into music to now? Like, how I don't know what kind of question I'm trying to ask you.
Yeah, I hate, it's crazy to think that that's the amount of people that listen in a month, and it fluctuates. At one point when the song really was going off, the one that I mentioned, the Zelda one, I was at like 26 monthly thousand listeners.
That's crazy.
Like 20, yeah. And I was like, yo, 26K, that's a lot of people. And even like, you could go into Spotify now and see how many people are listening to your song right now.
That's crazy.
That's the crazy thing when I load it up and it says 7 people listening right now, or 4 people listening right now. That and it said like 50, and I was like,
holy crap, bro.
50 people are listening to my music right now. So I mean, I'm in a very unique niche or whatever, being an instrumental artist, that put out beats and I'm under Spotify, JMKM. Like I'm basically doing everything that a rapper would do.
Right.
But there's no lyrics, and
Right.
it is a little bit of an unfair comparison though,
Mhm.
because people will listen to my music passively, meaning like they're working, they're at a coffee shop, they're listening
Right.
to stuff. So yes, I do have a song that has 1.3 million streams or 100,000 streams on a regular heartbeat or on all these lo-fi show playlists, but those people are not really there for me.
Right.
They're there for the vibe. So I have to remain humble and think that.
Right.
And I always like to talk shit to the artists that I work with and clown them like, you ain't got no streams. I got more streams than
Right.
all you guys combined, but it's different. Then I'd be like,
Yeah.
no, for real, it's different. It's not the same. It's apples and oranges. So
Right.
it feels great to know that people are listening. But I wish it was easier for rappers. Like I have
Right.
a lot of homies that are really talented. That's why I put out some songs with artists. Like I don't know if you
Mhm.
saw there's some that it's me and so, and
Oh yeah.
it's their song, but they
Yeah.
just put me on there. And
Mhm.
I do that too because I think sometimes it'll help the algorithm. If like my account has more followers, then maybe it'll help you, you know?
Right.
Whenever I do a collab with an artist, if it's someone that I really rock with, I'll be like, let's put it out together on some,
Definitely.
on some DJ Khaled vibe, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah. So I mean, it's
Yeah.
just a number. It doesn't. I
It
mean,
is.
I've never once, no one's ever come up to me and said, are you JMKM, the lo-fi producer? Like,
Right. Right.
it doesn't mean anything,
Yeah.
you know. The numbers don't
I
too much.
feel that, bro.
Yeah.
So when you got into music, what really made you decide between no lyrics compared to just creating beats? Like, have you ever thought about making that transition into making lyrics, or have you just always stuck with?
No, yeah, I think a lot of producers start as rappers, and I was one of
Mhm.
them. I'm not even gonna lie. I like to tell the story that I used to rap, and I rapped at my high school talent show, and I was putting out
Yeah.
CDs and making beats, and I was doing remixes and all that
Oh
stuff.
yeah,
But
you told me about the CDs. That's my fault.
yeah,
Man.
no, but it's like I lost interest in rapping because I just wanted to be like Dr. Dre. You know, I wanted to. I
Right.
mean, Dr. Dre raps too, right?
Yeah. Right.
But I wanted to be like the producer, the composer in charge of the overall sound. And then I started working with top tier artists, bro. Like when I was 18, my first internship was with Snoop Dogg. So
Wow.
I got from my school, I got to work with him and his label
That's
and a
crazy.
very small team. And I was very like timid and I didn't take advantage of a lot of it. It lasted for a
Mhm.
while though. And it's all love with with that team. But
Right.
just to see your idols literally like in the flesh. And then when I was around 1920, I got to work with Kendrick Lamar a couple times
Right.
through just by chance. Like
That's
not like
crazy.
yeah, like I had the artist that I was working with after I worked with Snoop, he was getting features from all the dope artists that were out at the time. So Kendrick was one of them. It was right around the time his first album dropped. I was hella young, you know, Kendrick
Right.
was young, and I'll never forget literally I was still kind of on the fence about rapping, and
Right.
and this is gonna sound crazy, but I heard Kendrick rap, and I literally decided to not rap ever again
Wow,
because
bro.
I was like, if you're gonna do this out here in LA,
Yeah.
this is who's doing it,
Right.
and I'm real self-awareness is key, man. Like
Yeah.
I'm not like one of these dudes that's shooting a hoop at the 24-hour fitness after work thinking they're gonna make it to the league. I
Right.
knew that my pen wasn't that strong, but my ear
Right.
was strong. I knew
Definitely.
that I know how to rap. So if I'm in a studio with an artist, I could help them and be like, oh, what if you say it like this? Or if you take out one
Yeah.
word, respect it. But in terms of like writing the most lyrical, spiritual, or the most waviest thing, I'm like, nah, that's not.
Yeah.
So, maybe one day, but I doubt it. Like
Yeah.
all
That's
my friends,
respect, bro.
they ask me, all the artists ask me, when
Yeah.
we're gonna do the Jam Canvas, but I'm like, shoot, if you write it for
Yeah.
me, like
Right. Yeah.
write me a
That's
verse,
crazy,
maybe I'll
bro.
do it on the
Right.
low. But until then, I'll pass.
Yeah. That's
What about you?
crazy,
What about
bro.
you? Do you rap?
I no, my friend. So the whole reason I got into the podcast was because some of my homies they rap, and it's more of like the community that they're in. I wouldn't say I mean, it's more of like it's the underground rappers, the people. That's why I started this to kind of like help people that weren't getting as much what do I want to say? Like attention wise, they want to get their music out there. So that was kind of like my idea. I was like, I got homies that make music.
Yeah.
I'll start this. And at first, so it's kind of a crazy journey. At first, it was more of like an interview based thing. And it kind of is like with us right now, how like I'll ask you questions, but like what I've changed is I try to add my input and, touch bases with certain things and not make it such a like question, kind of just thing, just have a chill time. But at first it was definitely an interview thing. And then I kind of took a break and decided to revamp some things because I felt like it was needed. But it's just crazy. It's I've always thought about rapping, but I just don't think I have the voice to. I can't ever find the lyrics to make it all come together and make sense in my eyes.
I think I relate to that. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's crazy, bro. So leading on to all that, I've kept these questions. We'll get outside your music. So you've worked with some famous people. I was kind of going to ask you that, but when you first met Sholo and Jacob, obviously, you knew of them. Were you kind of like starstruck, or did you have like some expectations on how they would be? Background wise, like did you kind of think like, I don't know?
Yeah. So Sholo and Jacob, as you guys, if you may know or may not know, I produce Lonelobos, like you mentioned, which is the podcast with Sholo Mariduena and Jacob Bertrand best known from Cobra Kai,
right.
And now Sholo as the Blue Beetle.
Yep.
I was just talking about this with them the other day because we're talking about a potential guest that might come on, and they're like, I was like, oh dang, and then the homegirl Monica was like, oh, are you gonna be starstruck? I was like, nah, I don't get starstruck. Like,
right.
Everyone's just normal people to me.
Yeah.
The first celebrity I met was Snoop Dogg, and I was starstruck, and ever since then I got over it. I feel.
Yeah. Right.
I have this thing where I have like I could spot celebrities.
Right.
I'll be out in LA and we'll be having dinner, and I'll look over at like a rush at the table 3 tables away, and I can spot like an actor. I'll be like, I think I've seen the guy in a commercial or something. Like,
that's funny, bro.
So with them, it's definitely not starstruck because there was a lot of mutual connections involved, and I had met I don't even remember the first time I met Sholo particularly because I've run into him many times before we started working on the podcast.
Right.
Because I've worked with his mom before.
Right.
Been involved in other shows, other things. So it was more like, yeah, what's up, dude? Good to see you. Let's run this. And we kind of clicked. And once we clicked, then it was like, all right, this is gonna be dope. So I didn't really feel.
That's respect, bro.
Yeah.
So I've been listening to their podcast since it came out, and I've noticed, like, what do you think some of the biggest improvements that you guys have made since you've kind of like helped and started producing it? What are some things that you've noticed that you guys have definitely improved on?
Everything that I touch. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, no, just on some real shit. Aside from the technical aspect, I think they have gotten so comfortable because I started as a listener too, because I was involved in the beginning of from when it started, in the sense like I knew that it was happening. I actually had a conversation with the team about starting from the beginning. I was I don't think I've ever mentioned this, but I was gonna be a part of it from season 1.
Okay.
But it was like, nah, not right now. I have to work on this, but that's dope.
Right.
And then it came up again, and that's when it came on for the live stream. But I was listening because I knew that I knew that I was gonna somehow be involved, just because I just knew it was such a dope situation,
Right.
So they I think they've improved so much in like their storytelling and in just what they like. It was so chaotic in the beginning. They were just like, just like, like it was so funny. It's still funny, but I think a lot of people give us feedback pertaining to a lot of the more serious topics we talk about now.
Definitely.
I think people like that. So I think that's one of the areas that they've improved. Obviously you guys know season 2, we have video now.
Yep.
So that's been cool in the journey of video. It's never easy to implement video long form content, but we're doing it, and we're constantly making adjustments and having to pivot, but I think it's going pretty well.
I like that, bro.
Yeah. What do you think? What's the biggest...
I think the biggest thing that I like, because when I first started listening to it, like I always tell people this, and I've been saying this from like when I started this podcast, I wouldn't necessarily say I took their idea, but like it just, when I heard them talk, it just like I'd be at work, kind of like, because obviously I didn't have the visual aspect. So I'd be at work and you say I'd be having a bad day or something. And just the way that they just found a way to like cheer me up. It always like, so I think definitely the serious topics and definitely the visual aspect of it is definitely improved. I still think, and they're always going to be them. So I think that aspect will always be there. They'll always be funny and there'll
Yeah.
always be stuff like that. But I definitely think the visual aspect and just different conversations and different topics has helped a lot of ways too.
Yeah, I've always, now that you mentioned that, the thing is like, even as the person that's in the room,
Right.
um, they just they're just fun,
Yeah.
bro. Like I
Right.
could be having the worst day and go into the studio and we'll start recording and you can see it on our face. Like Monica and I are having
Right.
fun, you know, to
Right.
the point where even where I'm at home and I'm even thinking about the most recent episode that's gonna come out
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Right.
Uh, I'm over here editing and I'm just giggling because it's funny
Right.
and I'm
It
there and I'm
is,
like,
bro. Yeah.
I can't
Right.
believe we said that. Did you watch the most recent episode?
Yeah, I did. It
Yeah,
was hilarious. Yeah, I
like
watch
yeah,
bro. I watch every episode. It's like, and I know it comes out every Tuesday, and I always know to stay up till it's like 3 a.m. my time because it'll come out when you guys release it at midnight. So I always
now
stay
we're
up till
now we're releasing at 7 a.m. So you don't got to stay up
as
no
it
more.
said. Okay, all right. Well, I
Yeah,
when it
so
before when you guys were doing, it, I stayed up till 3, and I would just listen to
I
it.
know. Which I don't know. We did that. We tried it and it was great. But then I think for the algorithm, it's probably better to release it in the morning.
That's what I was going to ask you about. That's what actually my next question. Speaking of that, I was going to ask you about the algorithm because that was kind of like when I did this whole revamp thing. Everybody's like, you got to upload at certain times, and at first I didn't believe it because I was like, no, because everybody, all the young people you would think are going to be up at night, but most of the time people are going to want like, they start their day in the morning. So you probably want to drop stuff in the morning. That way it gives people time to look at it all day long. Cause if you drop it at, say, if I wanted to drop it at like midnight, you got to think about it. By the time the next day starts, people are going to, there's already new stuff out because people have a different algorithm. So
Yeah, true. Yeah, yeah. We were thinking like as long as it just comes out for the people that are waiting, it's like music. Music releases at
yeah,
midnight.
right,
I think that's our thought process. And I don't see too much of a difference. I think more so it's the other way, as long as you don't drop it too late,
right,
where it's like you don't want to release a podcast episode at 3 p.m.
exactly,
I think as long as people have it on their way to work, you're good.
right, yeah,
I think we were still good dropping it at 12, but
yeah,
we just I want to we're trying out just
do
like
yeah,
yeah,
new things, yeah, that's
yeah,
cool, bro.
yeah.
Definitely. What's thinking? Oh, okay. Blue Beetle just came out. I want to talk about this. I went and seen it. I didn't see it the first weekend it came out. I went and seen it the next weekend, but like, I just crazy in my opinion seeing Sholo in something different than Cobra Kai because when I started Cobra Kai, it was from, he grew into that show. He was, he started when he was really young and he grew
Yeah.
to where he is now.
Baby.
So it's crazy seeing him in something different, but also just looking into his acting and how good of a job he did. And also the CGI on that was crazy. When they had that in his back and I seen that at the movie theater, I was like, there's no way that they did that, but it was good.
Oh, yeah,
It was
yeah,
crazy.
great. I've seen it twice in the theaters now.
Okay.
Um, once in IMAX and it's fire.
Yeah.
I love superhero movies. I love the genre. Didn't really follow the sure,
It is.
in there.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I've seen it twice now, and it's been so sick, man. Like I saw
Yeah.
it in IMAX. Did you see it in IMAX?
No, I didn't. I just seen it regular. I don't even think there's an IMAX theater here, to be honest. I wish there
Oh
was, but
no, that's
yeah,
so
bro.
it's filmed for IMAX, bro. You gotta
Yeah,
go
I know.
to
I gotta find a way to
near a city,
yeah.
yeah, it's dope to see. I agree. Watching him in Cobra Kai is different. The funny thing is I watched Cobra Kai season 1 before I knew it was him,
Yeah.
before I got involved with working with his family and because my family's big on one like karate.
Right.
Because in Hawaii, like my family where it's a big thing.
Right.
Um two, the Karate Kid, bro. The Karate
Yeah.
Kid. I don't know if
Yep.
you watch it for nostalgia,
Oh
but
yeah. I started see now I'm not gonna try to be like I'm not dissing, but the least favorite one was the one with Jaden Smith. I don't know why I have something. I don't know. I
yeah,
don't
that
think
doesn't
it
count. No. Like I'm
yeah,
not. That ain't even. That's. I mean, all respect to Will Smith, who's a producer
right.
on the
Yeah.
series, but Cobra Kai.
Yeah,
It's
nah,
related to Karate Kid,
right.
Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I love Jackie Chan,
yeah.
but did you watch the originals with Ralph Macchio?
Yeah,
It's the
no, I
same thing.
watched. I used to when I was growing up. See, the crazy thing when I was younger, I loved the originals. The only one, for whatever reason, I had just recently got into the one with Hillary Swank. I didn't like for that one. I was like, for a while, I was like, no, I can't. Like, I just can't. I couldn't get into it. And then I would start. I start when I finished Cobra Kai. I'd start binge watching all the originals, and I finally got into the one. It was I think it was the fourth one
Or
with Hillary Swank,
the next
and
Karate or something like
yeah,
that.
and I really like that one. I don't know. I just had to
I
give it some
forgot
time, but
about that
yeah,
one.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
I need
really
to
like
watch
the
that one.
originals. Yeah,
I remember watching that one when I was younger, but I don't. Uh, now that I think about it, I don't. I only remember the scene where Miyagi's like fighting the dudes at the gas station.
yeah, right, yeah,
But yeah, I mean, the funny thing is, like I know that the Karate Kid 2 was filmed mostly in Hawaii. They weren't in Okinawa.
yeah,
All the Okinawa scenes were filmed, not on the island I'm from, but on the island of Oahu. So like,
right,
I think there's a connection between Pat Morita, the actor that plays Mr. Miyagi,
yeah,
and the islands. I don't know if he's from there or he has family there, but I remember growing up in like, the karate, even the way he speaks in the
right,
film, like he has this accent that's kind of like this broken English that reminds me of like the way my uncles talk.
right.
Uh, but yeah, so I was a big fan of Karate Kid, and then during the pandemic, right? That's when Cobra Kai came out. So I remember
Yeah,
watching this first season and being like, this is goofy. Like
yeah, right.
it's so goofy, but it's nostalgic because it has Ralph Macchio and the same characters from the Karate
Yeah,
Kid. I was like, this is cool, but then I was like,
right,
at the time, it's not really something appropriate to watch with my kid.
right,
So I was just like, I felt weird about just watching with these kids in it.
right, right.
Uh, but recently, since I started working on the show, um, my girl and my kid they started watching
Right.
Cobra Kai from beginning. So they went through seasons 1 through 5 in the past couple months, and
Yeah,
I'll tune in here and there,
yeah.
follow the major storylines, but um, I think it's good. It's crazy how it just elevated like in the last
I
season.
know.
They got this fancy Cobra Kai gym, and the tech
Yeah,
and oh, if it looks dope. I can't wait for
it
season 6.
is. I'm the only thing I'm sad about is how it's coming in. I was always worried about this day. I always knew it would come. I just didn't know when they'd stop. And I know the writers always said that they would stop after. I don't know the like season 5, season 6. I was kind of like, oh, they're probably gonna stop it soon. But
Yeah, I mean, all good things must come to an end. Like, what are some
that's
other
true.
shows that you like?
I recently got in. I like Outer Banks. I don't know if you ever watched Outer Banks. I like Outer Banks. My girlfriend don't like Stranger Things, but I like Stranger Things. I've
Yeah,
always liked Stranger Things. I started
Stranger
watching
Things.
I
Yeah, they.
watched All American too.
Yeah,
Have you ever watched All American's pretty good.
no, but I've heard of it.
There's another one on Amazon Prime, and this may sound it's called The Summer I Turned Pretty, but I don't know. It's got like books out on it and stuff. It's pretty good. I started watching that one.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I heard of that one.
Yeah, there's all kinds. Cobra Kai's at the top. Um, and then probably Outer Banks' newest season was kind of iffy. I don't know. I feel like they rushed that, but that was just I don't know.
Yeah,
And
I've heard of it. But yeah, like the other show that have you ever watched Walking Dead?
yeah, I've watched Walking Dead. Walking
But
Dead's
Walking
good.
Dead went too long. Walking Dead
Yeah,
had 3 spinoffs and 12 seasons and 100.
right.
So I'm in a sense like Cobra Kai stopping after season 6 or whatever it was.
Yeah,
Yeah, season 6
yeah,
is
season 6.
that'll be the best move, honestly.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure. Yeah, I think that'll be. Yeah, I can't wait.
I know. Yeah, it's crazy, bro.
Yeah, I'm excited for season 6, and hopefully everything gets resolved and
Right.
they can start working on it soon.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
craziest thing I always look back is how they started on YouTube TV because I never knew anything about it until it first came on Netflix, and I think my parents started watching it. They were like, "Hey, this is kind of based off the old movies." I was like, "No, I don't think." I was like, "I love the old movies too much." I was like, I can't." And I finally started watching. I was like, "Okay, well,
It got
it's
good. Like season 3, it
yeah,
got really good, right?
yeah, it did, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So so crazy. We talked about this on the pod too. Is like show Sholo as Miguel is different, but when you
yeah,
see Jaime Reyes, like I see more of Sholo, like
Right. Yeah.
100% knowing what we know about everything that the director of the movie has said about how Sholo got cast, and
Yeah.
it's like he was made for this role.
He was. He
Not only
was.
was he made for this role, in a sense, once this character, this version of Jaime Reyes is very comic book accurate, yes, but it's also like I feel like it was made for Sholo. Like
It was.
as much as Sholo was made for the role,
Yeah.
the the writing team, I don't know, the way that they represented Jaime's family and their values. Like when I watched it, it's just like I saw Sholo
Right.
in the character versus Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
Obviously, he looks different. That's the biggest thing. When Cobra Kai hit Netflix, it was already a few years old.
Right.
So by the time people were watching season one, Sholo didn't even look like that.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
I think maybe they were already working on season three or whatever. So and he plays younger on the show. So when I see Cobra Kai, I'm just like, who's this dude?
Yeah.
Who's Miguel? But
Right. Right.
when I see Blue Beetle, it's something else.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad you liked it. I've been telling all the
Yeah.
homies,
Definitely. Bro.
obviously
Yeah.
everybody, like, watch Blue Beetle because it's such a great story, such a great team behind it that the movie deserves to be recognized by the masses, and hopefully it will. And I think they just announced the streaming,
Yep.
or I know I just pre-purchased it
Yep.
on YouTube to own. So as soon as it comes out, I'll have it. I'll be able to watch it again.
Yeah.
I might even go see it one more time in the theaters. Who knows?
Yeah. Hell yeah. Fucking bro. But
Yeah.
speaking of that, last question about Sholo and Jacob. So how do you guys do that on the pod? Like I know they're probably super busy with certain things. How do you guys, if one of them can't make it, do you guys push it back, kind of, or you just work with what you got, or how does that, how do you guys go about that?
Yeah, it depends. I know, and it's different when they're filming projects or when they're remote. Last year we did a lot of remote episodes.
Right.
But this year, now that we're all on video, there's been times, yeah, as where we've had guests, or I think there's been 2 episodes so far where Jacob hasn't been in.
Yep.
It's not a regular thing we're trying to do, but it's something that might have to happen.
Right.
But yeah, we definitely work around their schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah, luckily the podcast is a really high priority for them and for us, so they make time for it, and so do we.
Definitely.
We're all invested, even though it's their show. The whole team, the four of us, we're all dedicated to making sure everything goes.
Definitely, bro. I like
Yeah.
the voicemail thing too. I've called a couple of times, but they haven't. You guys,
Yeah.
I called like last season when it first came out. I was like, oh my god, if I get put on this, but
Yeah,
I like the
you
I
gotta
like the
text me your number later so
I
I can
got you. I got you.
find the voicemail. Should we play your voicemail on your pod right now? No, I'm just kidding. I won't do
No,
that.
I mean we could, bro. Here, I don't care. I'll text
Did
you.
you
I don't. I can't. I called a couple. I don't know if I called once or
what was
twice.
it about? Because we
I know
listened
the
to a
one.
lot of it.
The one time, the very first time it was about my ex. It was a long time ago, and I asked for advice. And I'm trying to think what the second time was about. I can't remember what the second time was about.
Yeah, I got you. Just later DM me your number,
I
and
got you.
I got you. Listen,
All right, baby.
I won't make no promises, but I got you.
All right. You don't got to play the X one since it's past in the past. But if there's another one, you can play that one.
Has that
Or
one
I'll
been
call.
resolved? Has that one been resolved? The question that you
Yeah,
had?
yeah. That one's been.
Is she not your ex anymore? She
No,
not?
no, she is. She is. I got somebody else. That was a year. That was last year when all that
No,
happened. But
I won't play that one then because I'm not trying to get you caught up.
all right, all right, for sure.
Yeah.
But so I'll ask you a couple. I got some like little popcorn questions. I want to ask you some more about your
Let's
music.
run it.
So where do you want to see yourself growth wise within? Let's just say like within the next year with your music. Like, what do you want to improve on? What do you think you can work on? What do you think you can improve?
Definitely consistency. I want to put out more. I've been lucky to put out at least one project a year. I have a really close collaborator by the name of 32 Keys, which you saw on all those beat tapes, but more solo stuff. We I'm hoping for consistency and just I would love to work on a project with other rappers.
Okay.
And put out an album with rappers or artists. I don't know if that'll happen this year or how soon, but that'll be my next thing. I think I
Definitely.
want to achieve for sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. I got one popcorn question. What's your team? Who are you taking with you in a zombie apocalypse? Like, what's your team? Who are you taking? Who's
Oh,
going with you to run the battle?
okay. Of anybody?
Yeah, anybody you want. Anybody you want.
I'm taking Les Stroud. Google him. He's
Okay.
he's a survivalist. He has a TV
All
show
right.
called Survivor Man. I'm taking my two older brothers who are outdoorsmen that
Okay.
have taught me everything I know about fishing and surviving in the Hawaiian wilderness. How many people I got? How many people can I take?
To however many you want, however many you feel comfortable taking.
And I'm taking the fam, of course.
Okay.
And I am who would be really handy? I'm taking the last 5 winners of the TV show Alone,
Okay.
which is it's a survival. I'm just cheating. I'm just taking
All right.
survivalists with me,
Right.
and
I respect that.
then they'll catch all the food and I'll cook for them.
Fair enough. Fair
We'll
enough.
survive and build a fort.
Definitely, bro. I respect it, but I appreciate your time. If you got anybody you want to shout out, and anybody you want to give props to before you head out.
Yeah, no, shout out to you. Thank you so much
Yes, sir.
for all the listeners of your podcast.
Definitely.
Wishing you success. I love the concept. I'm so
Definitely.
grateful that you reached out to me. Yeah, and everybody, shout out everybody.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate it. Well, guys, this was LarriWhyte, season 2, JMKM. Link will be down below. I appreciate your time, bro. I had much respect for you. As you know, I love the podcast. I love everything you do with your music. I respect everything. So I appreciate you coming on for sure.
All right, man. Thanks. Peace out,
Definitely.
y'all.
Peace.
Yeah.